Hello and welcome back. Before we get to part 2, Real Talk, please allow us to fulfill our capitalistic duty and plug our Patreon, the Contrarian Supplements.
That's right. For a small fee, you too can help the Contrarians rage on.
We have tiers ranging from just $1 to $10. It all depends on how much content you can handle.
Starting at $1, it's the Travoltis tier, which gets you access to new bonus episodes focusing on a new movie every month, as well as access to the patron chat. Join other patrons in making fun of our opinions.
Moving up to $3 is the Winonis tier, which unlocks access to our pre-recording notes, our video reviews, and our spin-off show, Contrarians After Hours.
That's a more laid-back space where we talk about other things we've been watching, reading, playing, thinking about. Sometimes it's related to the movies being covered in the main feed, but it usually isn't.
If you want to be part of those patrons who help us shape the show by telling us which movies to tackle, that's when you sign up for the $5 tier, the Embries, and the $10, the Gads.
Finally, all supplement subscribers, regardless of the tier, get access to our archive of special patron projects. Head over to patreon.com/contrarianprime now to join.
Be sure to listen through the end of the episode to find out what's coming up to the Contrarian Supplements this month. Now, it's time for some Real Talk.
What's this? More bullshit for your thesis?
There's some interviews about Dad. I'd like you to read it.
Not interested.
Why not? I just want you to read it.
You're never going to face it, are you? The old man is dead. He was a drunk. He killed himself.
Yeah, Doc, but he didn't start to drink until after the hearings. It's right here in the
You
interview.
gotta be kidding.
No, look, I got it from his friends. Read
Where
it.
were those people when he needed them?
They were afraid like everybody else.
You think he wanted you to be throwing your life away on this shit?
But I don't think I'm throwing it away.
You are. Nothing you're going to write is going to change
Why
anything.
can't you give me the courtesy to read it?
It's over. Forget it.
All right, Julio. Another movie from the 70s added to the pantheon of Contrarians entries. Interesting movie. The poster is very funny because it says Marathon Man and then a thriller. You know, things were much less subtle those days, I guess. They had to just tell you flat out what it was. But
No tagline in the 70s.
no, there are no clean getaways. Tell me, what all of Laurence Olivier have you seen?
Dude, I was going through his filmography on IMDb. This might be my first.
Wow.
I mean, don't shame me, bro.
No. I no shame. It's just that's it be that way sometimes.
Like, I know of him, and I know his reputation, his stature in the acting community, but...
Yeah, like Hamlet, Spartacus. What is the fucking name of the movie he made with Marilyn Monroe? I always forget that. I know My Week with Marilyn is based around whatever that movie is. It's like the king and the princess. I don't know. I'll figure it out as we're doing this. But an interesting jumping off point for your first Olivier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing this is, I'm not going to say the twilight of his career, but definitely he's not the heartthrob anymore. This is,
Well, certainly not.
yeah, latter age Olivier. He's good. I mean, I joked about the legend in Contrarian's Corner, but this was, I mean, I don't want to say it was just fine. It was really good, actually. I think he's a really good villain. I guess if I was watching it in 1976, it would have felt like, oh, there he is. You know, there he is, and he's living up to the hype. But here, because I didn't even know what he looked like, so halfway through the movie, I figured, okay, Olivier must already have shown up. So I got on IMDb and I looked at the cast list, and then I recognized the name of the character. I'm like, okay, so he is the evil dentist. And from then on, so I watched the second half of the movie knowing who he was. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, Alex. It's not like it blew me away, but
The Prince and the Showgirl was the name of the movie I was trying to remember.
was he the prince or was he the showgirl?
Twist. Okay, now be serious since we're in real talk. Did you not do any squirming or cringing at the dental torture?
A little bit. I definitely, assuming that you were not playing it up in Contrarian's Corner, I think that
Man.
hit you a lot harder than it did me.
Oh, it was awful.
Like when he literally used the word pulp, that made me squirm. I mean, I guess it really did distract me that he didn't look more fucked up afterwards. I remember when I was thinking, when they were going through it, I was thinking Dustin Hoffman is going to look unrecognizable by the time they're done with him. If they are, because these are bad dudes and they have no regard for his life. They're basically torturing him for information, which means that they have no interest in him looking okay by the time they're done. Whether he gives up information or not, they're going to kill him. So
what did you want? Like end of Snake Eyes,
yes,
Nicolas Cage level of beat up?
100%.
All right. Well, just back to the point, and then we'll go into quotes here. Because our wonderful patron, John, you said didn't have a review logged?
No. So I just grab a bunch of rotten ones.
Okay. Well, like dental torture, like I said, that is like, So
is it because you've had bad experiences at the dentist?
It's just something I can relate to. Like the idea. No, I mean, first of all, who likes going to the dentist? It always fucking sucks. But like,
Bill Murray.
my teeth are sensitive, and oh man, like I get chills like just thinking about metal brushing up against your teeth. So what is it then? What is something in a movie that like man, I'm thinking the original Last House on the Left. You know how much I detest that movie, but there's this shot in it that they put like a fucking it's like a metal pry bar or something on this guy's tooth, and then they reach up to hit it with a hammer, and it like cuts away or whatever. But anyway, and you can hear the metal scraping on the tooth. Okay, so what is that for you? What in a movie, like any type of injury or the threat of physical harm that makes you uncomfortable in your seat?
I know it's come up in a movie recently, but nails, like fingernails, getting pulled off.
What did we talk about recently? We talked about that's literally like a lazy trope we've seen come to light in the past 25 years. That was something we just did recently. Let me pull up my. That's fair.
I don't think this is very popular, but
it was in fucking The Exorcist Believer.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, the quality of the movie has nothing to do with the effectiveness of the
fair
of the trope, but this one doesn't really get used very often. But the threat of doing something to someone's knees, like that freaks me out. Like what do you call it? Like a Tony Harding, right? Tony Harding is the one that hired somebody to, well, no, allegedly, if you watch I, Tonya, there's like different versions, but
you don't have to. Please don't.
What's the name of the skater that got injured?
Nancy Kerrigan.
So and that was, I mean, that's pretty bad to begin with, because it was like a metal pipe, right, that she got hit with. But there's, speaking of 24, I want to say there is one episode where they're torturing somebody for information, and they just put the gun to his knee, or it's like an ice pick to the knee, and the threat is like, okay, you talk to us or we're gonna fuck up your knee, and then of course the person refuses. I don't know, the knee ends up getting injured. I was like, oh my god. Doesn't that give you something? Does that give you shivers thinking of your knee getting injured?
Oh yeah. Do you remember that part in The Last of Us where Joel sticks that knife right above the dude's kneecap? He's like, if you lie to me, I'm going to pop your kneecap off. Do you remember that?
Yes. Even the wording, dude, popping a kneecap off. That sounds awful.
Yeah. Horrifying. All right. So we found something to be aligned on. I roll with that.
Suddenly, Laurence Olivier doesn't look so scary.
Well, I don't know about that. It was truthful. Like, he does some bad shit we see on screen, but obviously the things he did, he deserved to die for. And like, he did some way more repugnant shit elsewhere.
See, this is, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more once we're done with the quotes, because I think that as effective as it is to give him his backstory as a Nazi, then that also, at least on my end, created very high expectations of what he was going to do to achieve his goals and what he was going to be capable of. And he kind of goes down like a chump. So I think it's a double-edged sword, because it's really easy to hate him, but also it's very easy to be disappointed by his performance when all is said and done. Not the acting, but the performance as a villain. So we'll get back to that. But let's do the quotes.
Yeah, go for it.
There's some negatives.
The truffles en croute here are marvelous. And if you get hungry, I'll send the waiter out to the nearest McDonald's.
So we're going to start with John Lapp from Apollo Guide, who says, Marathon Man desperately yearns for acceptance among the canon of socially important, gritty, subversive 1970s new school films.
Okay.
Do you think John Schlesinger made this one to fit in with the crowd, to be with the cool kids?
Look, and we'll talk about it more, but like there is an embellishment of that mid-70s excessive violence in this movie. So I don't know about, I mean, Midnight Cowboy, you would have to see it to know that Schlesinger wasn't particularly worried about making movies of taboo subjects or anything like that, but this movie is pretty violent for the time period. I mean, to drill my point home, Halloween came out 2 years later, and this movie is significantly more violent than that.
Yes. This movie doesn't hurt any dogs, though.
Does not. Good call.
Point Michael Myers. All right, next. Jesus Fernandez Santos from El País, Spain, says, what seemed at the beginning like a meticulous approach, an in-depth analysis of a political and human matter, ends up being a doll-like fight. You see some merit on that, saying that the movie seems to be a little brainier in the first half, and then it becomes kind of a chase movie by the second half.
Well, we'll talk about that shortly. The movie of two halves.
All right. Yeah. Jesus, you might have to wait and see. Next, John G. Puccio from Movie Metropolis says, not a genuinely convincing thriller, but one that makes us think we're seeing something more important than it is because of the virtues of its participants.
Oh man, that is such a lazy fucking critique of any form of art, and it's one I've been guilty of using before. Pretty much when it comes to wrestling, I'll say that this isn't as good as no, you know, the idea of this isn't as good as they think it is. But I'll be more curt than that. But that's always like that's a film school critique of a movie. You know, when you're in your third year of film school, it's not as good as it thinks it is.
Well, it's not as good as it is, or you only think it's good because it has Dustin Hoffman, Roy Scheider, and Laurence Olivier in it.
Oh, I see. The idea of like tricking you into thinking it's good because of the players involved. That's another. That's such a hollow critique of anything, really. That's like saying Bruce Springsteen tricked you into thinking this song, "Born to Run" is a good song because Bruce Springsteen performed it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Secret Garden is not that great.
Yeah, exactly. You only think it's good because it's Bruce Springsteen. It's like,
yeah, and the video has Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger kissing.
What's your fucking point?
Like, exactly. It's good. We're going to close with James Kendrick from Network Film Desk, who says, an interesting but deeply flawed and often bizarre thriller.
Bizarre, eh?
There are a couple of perplexing choices in this movie. Ray
I suppose.
Mentioned the soccer ball ad nauseum in Contrarian's Corner. I will one more time. What the fuck was going on with that soccer ball?
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
Well, that was the last quote, Alex. So do you want to start with our friend returning to the Contrarians, Roy Scheider, who I think we haven't talked about since Jaws back in our first year?
Yeah, I mean, he's good in this. He has what, 10, 15 minutes of screen time?
Yeah, because he dies an hour in, but he's splitting time with, his story splits time with Dustin Hoffman's story. And I wanted to start with him because I think he's, I was saying Olivier didn't blow me away. And it's not like Roy Scheider blew me away, but Roy Scheider made me happy. Like when I saw him, I'm like, man, he's just effortlessly stealing the movie from everybody. Just, and this was even before I saw him doing push-ups half naked. Like, this dude's cool. He is so different from,
he looks so awesome in his suits and shit. Like,
yeah,
that's
like he's a secret agent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I pine to be a thin man one day. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. Well, I can have the Roger Ebert outlook. One day I may not be fat, but Vincent Gallo will have always made the Brown Bunny. But that's like, I look at it like this, like he looks like fucking James Bond in this movie. It's like, God, it'd be so cool to look like that and have a tailored suit just like that and shit. And the difference is too, you believe it, and you're exactly right. This is a far cry from Jaws, where he's like, particularly in the first one, he's kind of a doofus.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, he's in over his head. He's
Brody, Sheriff Brody. That's it.
Yeah, Sheriff Brody. He spends the entire movie trying to catch up to the experts and to the shark, but here he is the expert. Did you get a?
He is the shark here.
He is the shark, and then halfway through the movie, some other Chief Brody kills him. Did you sense that he was not going to be around for the entire movie?
Well, I made the mistake of reading the Google summation, which says that after his brother's murder.
Oh no!
Yeah. And that's just like on the little, you just Google it and it's right there of what it's about, which I suppose is the story. So, but it still surprised me when it happened, because I thought he was talking all that shit to Zell, and I thought like that was going to lead to Zell being like, have him killed, but Zell just kills him right on the spot there.
Yeah, and it looks painful. I mean, he sells it really well. Scheider, he screams like ah. Yeah, I was bummed when that happened, even though at the back of my head I figured that was a way that the story was going to go. It was like, it's either going to be that or it's just going to be a team up with him and Hoffman trying to figure things out. But my favorite moment in the movie, the moment where I was at my happiest and my most excited about what was going on, was when they got together for the first time, because we've been following them separately. And it's not that, I mean, I was making fun of the Hoffman side in Conservator's Corner. It's not that I found the Hoffman side boring, but it's just so plain compared to what's going on with Roy Scheider. And then he shows up in the middle of the night, breaks into Dustin Hoffman's apartment, and they have that one scene where they're just fucking with each other like brothers, and it's revealed that he was, he wrote him the letter. Their conversation sheds light on a lot of things that had been happening in the movie up till then, that where I felt like, okay, now I'm with the movie. I'm finally in sync with the movie. I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen moving forward. Did you figure out when he got mugged, when Scheider showed up and it was revealed that they were brothers, did you figure out then that the mugging was related to what was going on with Scheider, or did you think it was just a mugging?
Well, it was New York, so I guess I wasn't too sure what to make of it.
I thought, I was like, oh, this is some spy shit, so it's probably he's getting mugged because he's related to a spy, which turned out to be the case. But yeah, I got really excited, and so of course I was really bummed when that relationship just came to an end. I don't know, 15 minutes later or so. But Roy Scheider, MVP for my money.
You're going to tell me that Chen acted on his own?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't mind you hiring him, but my brother, for Christ's sakes, did you have to involve him?
It was nothing.
It was a violation.
I know I've seen him in a couple other things, but this really made an impression, aside from Jaws. And Jaws was 75, this is 76. I'm guessing Jaws 2 was 77?
Jaws 2 was 1978.
Okay, so he had a couple of years to just figure out.
Which again, have you seen Jaws 2? Have we talked about this?
A long time ago, when you talked to me about it on the after hours, where we told me about all the other Jaws movies.
Yeah. He is without question, like, in theory, the most interesting part of that movie, because, he becomes a drunk because the weight of the situation and everything, and he can't move past it, and he's afraid it's going to happen again. That is an interesting idea. The rest of that movie is not. But anyway, yeah, he's great here. But what I was going to say, the Tale of Two Movies, I texted Julio while we were watching it. The first hour of this movie moves really slow, but when it kicks into fucking gear, this movie does not let off the gas. I'm sure I could fucking cram in a few more cliches if I tried really hard, but
when would you say that happens?
When he gets killed. And then from there, because
okay,
I mean, just from that scene on, like a really interesting score this movie has, but one of the things I appreciate is there's these scenes of tension where there's no music. Specifically, his brother gets killed. They come and take him away. He's just like, completely rattled. He's laying in the bathtub. And then it's just dead silent. You hear like things in the background. And you don't know if he's just being paranoid because fucking, what's his face? Fucking Devane said they're going to come for you. So you don't know if he's just being paranoid or not. But then you see like these shadows moving. And then he gets up, and that's when you see his butt, of course. But he jams the door closed, and they're just like trying to pry the door off the hinges. It's so tense. And then it's not one of those things where it's like a horror movie where it's like they go away and then like a jump scare. He tries to make a run for it, and they just tackle him in his apartment. And then from there, we go to all the torture scenes and the numerous escape attempts. And before I knew it, it was the closing of the movie where he holds Olivier at gunpoint. So there was a point in this movie, as much as I was enjoying Roy Scheider and just kind of some of I was enjoying the acting and the vibes, as it were. But there was a point about 45 minutes into it, I was like, oh no, is this going to be one of these old movies that my ADHD fucking social media fried brain is going to I'm going to come out of it saying, that was kind of boring. But it was not to be. I ended up really enjoying this, and I thought the second half of it made the first half make more sense in terms of pacing, with just kind of how repeatedly intense it was.
I can see that. I enjoyed both halves. I think that I enjoyed the first half better because there was the promise of like, well, where is this going to go? I was just trusting that everything that was happening in that first half was going to lead somewhere interesting. I would say about half of it did. The other half kind of goes nowhere. Like, for example, the scene with his teacher, right? I really like that scene where he shows up late. The teacher is a complete asshole to all 5 students, dismisses everybody, tells Hoffman to stay.
If you know nothing of this story, the first half or the first like half hour of the movie promises something that does not happen. You think it's going to be this really banal story of this guy, and he's just trying to write a paper to disprove that his dad, was guilty in the era of McCarthyism.
But none of that comes into play in the second half. Not really. I think, like, now we're in real talk, Alex. I think that there's a chance that there's some stuff that's just gone over my head. Or maybe there's just some stuff that Goldman and Schlesinger are trying to convey that it's just not hitting with me. And all these little things that I feel like are there for color, but not really add up to anything by the end of the story. Maybe they're there for more than that. Maybe they're there to make a bigger point about, I don't know, America. But I like that scene with the teacher. I really like it. I really like the moment when he tells Dustin Hoffman, Hoffman says, "Did you believe he was guilty?" And the teacher goes on like saying, well, I think he was guilty of this, but no, I did think that he was innocent, blah, blah, blah. But then he says something like, for what it's worth, I cried when he died. And I think Hoffman says like, yeah, a lot of us did. I don't know, but it's such a good exchange with a throwaway character. And I don't know how I feel about that, because on one hand, I'm glad that it's there. On the other hand, now that I finished the movie, I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, I mean, I get the point of it on the most basic level is to establish that Hoffman carries the weight of his father's suicide and his father's guilt or potential guilt, right? That's something that haunts him. But I don't feel like any of that comes into play later in the movie. I mean, am I wrong? Do you feel like there is some significance, like bigger significance to the McCarthyism and the authoritarian vibes of his class, of his thesis, like all the stuff that is set up in detail in the first half of the movie? Like, it doesn't really, that quote that was saying, like, the movie sets up to explore like a lot of political stuff potentially, and then in the second half it's just action.
Yeah, and I think obviously because I enjoyed this movie, that didn't bother me too much. But I don't know, sometimes we come across these movies where they set up things that don't pan out, and then in my mind they weren't really meant to, because the babe that we see in that classroom, that his professor's kind of telling him what you need to do and how this needs to go, etc. There's no way that character can foresee the series of events that's about to happen to him. So I guess it all ties it together at the end where they goes to the house and he kind of has the realization and whatnot. But I could see if you weren't as into it, that's one of the first quotes you read in the Contrarian's Corner was like litany of plot holes. So I could see those weighing way heavier if you're not like, oh shit, is he going to kill Laurence Olivier? Is he going to kill Hamlet?
Yeah, I wouldn't even call them plot holes. I would just call them dangling unresolved threads. Just why were you making such a big
way less
deal?
pretentious?
Yes. Well, why are you being so hyper focused about McCarthy and this is a story where the bad guy is a Nazi, and that's great. Like it works, like that. And look, this is me overthinking it. Maybe like, is it about America, the disenchantment with America in the 70s? Because another big moment that I really like is when Hoffman has escaped. Has he escaped? No. They still haven't captured. They just finished torturing him, and they're like, he knows nothing. So Olivier says, get rid of him. And then he turns to William Devane, and Devane is sitting at his desk with his shit-eating grin, and he tells him, you know what? You're going to go home. We're done with you. Then Olivier basically tells Devane, oh, you're such a piece of shit. Devane tells him, well, I don't like you, basically, because you're a Nazi. And then he says, I believe in my country. And Olivier responds,
so did we all.
And I was like, is he saying that he believed in his country as in he believed in Germany when he was a Nazi? Or is he saying that he believed in the United States because the United States provided him asylum in exchange for intelligence, for counterintelligence, right? I'm like, that is that's a loaded line in a loaded scene that is saying a lot about the United States and how it handled the Nazi problem post World War II. I'm like, that is fascinating. That has almost no bearing on the second half of the movie. Little things like that, I think, add up to a little, somewhat of a frustration with me at the end. When it was over, I'm like, that was it? He just kind of tricked him into falling down the stairs and stabbing himself? But what about America?
Praise from Caesar. I'm just doing my job.
Well, how do you feel about Dustin Hoffman, Alex, making his triumphant, I guess, Contrarian debut?
I mean, Dustin Hoffman's a great actor. Are we
what do you
telling
think of
tales here?
When you think of Dustin Hoffman?
Oof. I mean, just personal experience, All the President's Men, probably. I'll never forget watching that in journalism class.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's gonna...
Was a news editorial. I know my degree is in journalism / news editorial writing. And it was either my junior or senior year, watching that. And there was like a week where we watched movies based on, journalistic happenings. And that was, of course, that was the main event. But I remember that's the week we watched like Shattered Glass, and I'm trying to remember the other movies we watched. But anyway, that would come to mind. I mentioned Midnight Cowboy. It's funny when I think of Dustin Hoffman, I think of, I've never seen Tootsie.
I was going to say Tootsie.
Oh, nice. The Graduate, genuinely Stranger Than Fiction, because his character is so good. Do you like that movie?
I do. And he's great in it.
Yeah, and his character is really good. I always, since the first time I saw it, it always stuck with me. The scene where he tells Will Ferrell, you have to die. Like the ending is so good because he reads the book. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. But yeah, I'll always think of when Dustin Hoffman comes up working at the Bee Cave Cinemark and box office one day, and someone came up asking for a ticket to the new Dustin Hoffman movie. And after a bit of sleuthing and probing questions to figure out what the fuck they were talking about, because there wasn't a Dustin Hoffman movie coming out, they were trying to see The Untouchables. And then I had to inform them that not only was Dustin Hoffman not in that movie, but that movie was not at our theater and also from a completely different country. So what was the guy's name? Francois Cluzet, maybe?
Maybe. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
You have to have told that story in our Untouchables episode. And I'm sure it made me laugh just as much. I thought you were going to say that they were asking for Meet the Fockers. Have you seen any of those?
Those are movies that I remember kind of like feeling this sense of coming of age. Because Meet the Parents, I would have been like 13 or 14. I think I saw them after the fact because 13, I still was obviously very Sandler brained. But like, I remember seeing those movies when I was like 15 probably and being like, these aren't funny. Just thinking, why are these so popular? And there's Meet the Fockers and Little Fockers, right?
Right. So he's not in the first one. So he's introduced in the second one.
He's Ben Stiller's dad in the second one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think I've seen. I've either seen it or just seen so many clips online that I kind of have an idea that, he's the wacky dad and Barbara Streisand is the wacky mom. But that's the thing, right? Like what they did with Robert De Niro in the first movie, now we're going to do with other respectable actors.
Correct. Whatever the case, I'm a big Dustin Hoffman fan, and I think he's quite tremendous in this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I think that
this movie is strangely paced, and his performance is right along with it as far as pacing goes.
Yeah,
because he doesn't start like getting excited and reacting rationally about things until the movie really picks it up. Because he's pretty much, not from an acting perspective, but his character is like coasting up until that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he gets after Scheider dies, I think that's when he gets his big Oscar clip, when he's kind of in shock and Devane is interrogating him, trying to get him to... No, it's not Devane that's interrogating him. I think it's the other cops. I don't know, but at some point he goes, come on. And I was like,
oh yeah, when he snaps. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Sorry. Come on! Get off my back! They've been after me for 2 hours!
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply that.
They told me they were done!
He's good. He's really good at being just like a regular guy that obviously, because movies have to be about something, it's usually about a regular guy finding himself in very out of the ordinary situation. And when I think of Dustin Hoffman, I just think of, regular guy, right? When I think of Robert De Niro, I don't think regular guy. I think, De Niro is always just the strong man, But I was about to say, I like Hoffman. I always group him with what I'm assuming are his contemporaries. I know they're his contemporaries, So I think Hoffman, De Niro, Pacino, and he always feels like the smaller out of the three, not stature-wise, even though he's pretty short, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a pretty diminutive fellow.
Yeah. But just as far as the guy that makes the less of an impression, I guess, at first sight.
God damn, he's 88.
He's old, dude. Yeah.
He was almost 40 making this movie. That's crazy.
Oh, I hadn't even done the math that way. He looks pretty young here. He looks like he's in his 30s.
Oh, just slinging dick all around New York City while filming this movie, man.
All that running was just him warming up.
He did that for like weeks before the movie got started. Just to, I'm an actor, but I'm running for this part. What's that? Yeah, I'd love to come back to your place.
You want to run to your place?
Race you.
I mean, I think he's method, or at least he's from the actor's studio. So.
I definitely believe that.
I guess I just don't think he is. I think he's as good an actor as De Niro and Pacino, but I just don't think that he has as iconic a lineup of movies / characters as they do. And so that means that when I think of Hoffman, I always think like, oh yeah, he's great, but he's not De Niro or Pacino, which is probably very unfair because I think he's fantastic in Tootsie. I think he's great in The Graduate. I'm not a journalism major, Alex, so I hate to tell you that All the President's Men kind of left me a little cold, even though I appreciated the performances and the way it was put together. It was very clinical, and I think that. But then, to be fair, I watched that movie when I was recovering from surgery, so I was probably pretty doped up. Not the best way to appreciate the investigation of the Watergate scandal. So maybe I should rewatch it. I'll tell you this: I put it in the background. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. For a while, it was on Netflix, and I'll put it on Netflix in the background to fall asleep to, because there's a lot of talking in that movie, and I would just find that soothing. Because I was not under investigation. I was just hearing about something that happened a long time ago. But anyway, I like Hoffman. I guess I just never. I don't go seeking Dustin Hoffman movies the way that I would seek a De Niro or a Pacino that I haven't watched. Would you say that's your experience? Or are you like a bigger fan of Hoffman than I am?
I mean, he's not my favorite actor or anything. There's some movies I've seen of his that I'm a fan of and found him quite memorable in several things, but he's not like Brad Pitt or I can, necessarily cite his work page and verse,
Yeah, and I guess I've seen a few bad Hoffman movies. But that's the case with a lot of other actors too. I remember Sphere. I watched Sphere. That's the one he did with Sharon Stone and Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who directs that, but that was a movie I watched the first time I visited the United States. Same trip where I watched The Big Lebowski and Good Will Hunting. I watched Sphere, and Sphere is terrible. And Dustin Hoffman is right there at the center of it. And I was like, why is Dustin Hoffman in a bad sci-fi movie? This is good. I think that that's his quality of being an everyman works for the story that's being told. At the same time, that quality of being an everyman, like I joked about in Contreras Corner, that it means that somebody like Roy Scheider comes in with that type of character where he's, the extroverted spy brother. And I think that he just steals the movie from Hoffman when they're together, and the 2-3 scenes that they have together. So it's tricky. I can't help but wish that the movie was either about Roy Scheider with Hoffman as a supporting character, or even better, what I wanted the movie to be, just a team up of them, where the two of them with their very two different personalities end up working this case of the Nazi and the diamonds and all that stuff.
What do you think of Marta Keller?
I don't know. Hard to read.
Elsa. Marta?
Elsa. I think
Swiss.
Maybe because she is supposed to be playing somebody that's, well, I mean, everybody's duplicitous in this movie, I guess, so that's no excuse. But okay, we're in real talk now, Alex. Did you have any problem buying the romance between the two, between Hoffman and Elsa?
I guess what I would say is that the first date they were on, where he was kind of grilling her about, how she says words in her language, was kind of like, in kind of a weird way, charming, because she was kind of being kind of catty back with him and whatnot. But then obviously it seemed to escalate quickly. And then, the lunch scene was so weird that it made Dustin Hoffman seem so stupid that Roy Scheider within 30 seconds was able to completely debunk all of it. It waned at points. But in the beginning, I was kind of feeling their dynamic.
Yeah, I think that maybe if I had bought into the relationship more, I would have felt the betrayal when she's exposed as a liar. And then again, when she's exposed as not just a liar, but a Nazi agent, so to speak. But I didn't really. I was just kind of like, oh, that figures, right? Because I didn't buy it at all. Like when it's revealed that she's been lying, and then it clicked. I'm like, okay, that now everything makes sense. She was always supposed to basically put herself in the way so that Hoffman would approach her and then, I guess, just keep tabs on him. But I think that the movie works better. It would have worked better if I actually cared about that relationship. But it's, there's so many balls in the air in that first hour or so because they're establishing so much. The story of the diamonds is so complex in a way that they have to devote a lot of time to it without even tipping their hands, because also a big part of it is just keeping you in the mystery of, okay, what is this about? What's Roy Scheider really doing? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? And so I think that she got the short end of the stick as far as character development and all that stuff. I don't think that she's bad. I just think that they didn't give her a whole lot to work with. Were you invested in her as a character, or in that relationship as a relationship?
No, that sounds about right. But what I would think, I thought she did a lot with what she was given, with what little she was given. I was surprised she got killed at the end. That shootout was pretty nuts.
That is insane. That I mean, it's not like super.
Like two big characters die in the course of 15 seconds.
Yeah, but it's so. See, I wanted to say clumsy, but clumsy makes it look like it's not intentional. I guess intentionally clumsy, right? Because obviously Hoffman, he's not a killer. He's just like shooting. And it's just so chaotic inside that little house. It's not I brought up Michael Bay with the explosions in Concert's Corner. I'll bring him up here again. Like, it's not a Michael Bay action scene where, there's just slow-mo and you know exactly who got shot how. And it's just more like bang, bang, bang. Suddenly everybody's dead.
I didn't want this to happen, but I couldn't trust him. I'll give you Zell for your brother. He's out of bank at 58th and Madison.
And you did mention the Michael Bay, and we had the jokes about Nolan. Just because my brain is so, I've seen the movies I have. You were so right in Contrarian's Corner. The initial, like the opening, the explosion when they hit the fuel truck is so underwhelming. It's like, oh shit, here we go. And then it's like, a sparkler goes off.
But then there's a close up of the key among the fire. We're like, oh, it's supposed to be a big deal. When he's setting up a shop at that house, right? She's taking Elsa hostage. And he's like, all right, I guess we're just going to wait for these fuckers to come to us. Did you think that that's how, because this is what I thought. I thought that was going to be the climax of the movie. I'm like, oh, he's going to just barricade himself here. And it's going to be this sort of see, my note said Copland, but Copland's wrong. Because in Copland, Stallone is coming into the house. And this is the opposite. It's like Hoffman's going to be in the house while they're swarming the house. So something more like the ending of LA Confidential, or what's that movie? It's a John Carpenter movie that got remade with Ethan Hawke. Assault on Precinct 13. The typical like siege movie where the heroes are inside and then the bad guys are like swarming. So I thought, okay, he has a gun, he has a girl, and these guys are going to come in and it's going to be a shootout in that sense. Ended up being something completely different. But did you get that sense that was how the movie was going to end, with just the Nazis storming this country house and him shooting them out?
He was in the original Straw Dogs too, which it's been forever since I've seen that. But
dude, you're right. I haven't seen that, but I've seen the James Marsden version.
Well,
I don't need to watch that again. And I don't know. I don't think I need to watch the Hoffman version either, because that's a rough movie.
Yeah, it's not a good time. Switching gears to something more positive. Want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
One of the joggers that runs past Dustin Hoffman in this movie was an uncredited Treat Williams.
At the beginning of the movie or at the end?
It doesn't say when, but he's one of them.
Hoping it's the last jogger we see before the credits go to black.
Treat Williams will return in The Running Man.
I thought you were going to tell me that one of the joggers was the original Marathon Man from the movie from the 40s.
Julio, this did get one Academy Award nomination at the 49th Annual Academy Awards, live from the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, Los Angeles, California. Hosted by, all right, now buckle up for this, Richard Pryor, Ellen Burstyn, Jane Fonda, and Warren Beatty.
Oh, man.
The event was produced by William Friedkin. And, of course, it was 1977, celebrating the films of 1976. So, the award for Best Picture that year went home with Rocky. This did not receive any picture, directing, adapted screenplay, anything like that. The only nomination it did receive was Laurence Olivier as Best Supporting Actor.
I'm sure it wasn't his first, right?
No, but I would probably see. That's the thing. It's because it's Laurence Olivier. If we're just like viewing through 2026, who's the better performance? I'd probably say Dustin Hoffman.
Oh man, I would give it to Scheider.
For Best Supporting, that's fair. Best Supporting went with Jason Robards for All the President's Men. He was nominated alongside Ned Beatty for Network. And then the other two nominations were occupied by Rocky, as Burgess Meredith and Burt Young both received nominations.
Man, that's a really solid lineup.
Yeah, that was a crazy year. And that was, the Best Actor. That's when Peter Finch won over De Niro, Stallone, William Holden. Wild year.
It was a good decade for movies, as they say.
Was.
I am fascinated by the idea that William Friedkin produced the Oscars.
I'm just trying to think. Wearing sunglasses the whole time. Fucking fanny pack,
complete disregard for anything that's been done before. This is I'm just doing it my way.
Or any suggestions that come in from the network. It's just like, nope, not doing that.
I wonder if they got the 4 MCs on stage at the same time at any point, because there's a lot of people, and just the idea of like those, or if they were just rotating. I'm assuming that they were just rotating. It's too much star power to hold them like at once. That sounds like a good time. Did this do well? Because I guess that's the thing. I'm assuming that because of the Rotten Tomatoes score and just the quotes and everything, I figured that this was well regarded even before I knew it was nominated for an Oscar. But did it do well money wise?
So, released on October 8th of 1976, off a $6.5 million budget, had a return of a little under 30. So it did all right. Yeah.
And
it seemed like a movie that it doesn't have a Criterion. It's on the Criterion channel. I don't know. Obviously, its legacy is not up there with like The Graduate or some of Hoffman's other offerings, but just in my research and reading about it, it's definitely a movie that some people hold in pretty high regard.
That's wild, because I couldn't see this movie making that money today. Like, do you? Like, obviously, you recast it with actors of today, but this type of sort of modest thriller.
Well, if you made it in 2026, you'd have to have a character that doesn't understand what Zell did wrong because the Holocaust didn't actually happen.
I mean, it's true. but then maybe the movie would make a lot of money because it would be like, oh, it's relatable.
So all this happened because you were afraid you were going to be robbed?
Yes.
But you weren't sure.
No.
I forgot. Speaking of relatable, it's wild. It didn't come up in Concerns Corner, and it almost didn't come up in Real Talk. His neighbors, like the Hispanic youths.
Oh yeah, they scare off the white authority because they're like, we don't know what these minorities might have.
Yeah. They play chicken with William Devane, and he blinks. It's awesome. I mean, I guess that's kind of a thing that he sets up and then pays off, Schlesinger and Goldman, right? He establishes early on that they tease him. They don't particularly like him, and then they're able to help him. It's kind of like a silly subplot, but I guess it works in getting him clothing and a gun. But like, did you feel like that those characters, like the Hispanic neighbors from across the street, and the way that they play out in the story, where he hires them to go like burglar his apartment and get him, clothing and the gun, and then along the way they scare off William Devane. Like that entire thing, like did that feel like a little outdated for you, like compared to the rest of the movie? Like that's the one thing that
yeah. I mean, obviously, and it then makes you realize, the only reason they set up these trash talking youths in the beginning was because they're going to rely on them being scary because they're minorities later on in the movie, which is, dated is right. However, I don't know if there's anyone that lived in New York City at that point in time that wouldn't say that that plot point was very plausible. But again, watching it through 2026 lenses, if they tried to present something like that in a movie today, then people would be like,
But even
I'm not saying it's right or wrong either way. I'm just saying that the plot point, it's feasible that there were people in New York City that utilized people that were minorities to help them in situations like that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I think it just feels a little cheesy. Just the idea that we just got off like this really intense torture scene followed by a chase scene that was very edge of your seat. And then he it's almost like comedic the way that he gets his shit back. So I think that's more like, I think today we wouldn't do it that way. In addition to, the racial overtones and all that stuff. But it's memorable because that was one of the things that I thought about as I was watching the movie. I was like, this stands out. Again, going back to the quote that says there's some bizarre elements. Just the way that he gets his clothes and his gun is a little weird compared to everything else. But anyway, Alex, I think we've established that Marathon Man was a movie that we reacted to mostly in a positive manner. I sense that maybe you like it more than I do. But there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was. I often at this point in my life, if I'm having a hard time getting through it, and then it does something and it locks me in and holds me to the end, I don't know why, but I find great value in that. And this is definitely a movie that did that. I'm not about to tell you I'm giving this 5 stars or like, an A+ or anything like that, but I really enjoyed this. And if I ever come across it on a reasonably priced Blu-ray, I would definitely add it to the collection. It's a movie I would definitely see myself watching again. And when I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, I was telling her about the dental torture scene. And she was like, "That sounds awful." I was like, "Oh yeah, you would hate it, but it's very effective."
I was hoping that she would just roll her eyes and be like, Alex, come on. It's just dental work.
It's not that bad. Yeah. So this for me would be probably a middle of the road B, low end 4-star affair. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I ended up really enjoying it. Yourself, Julio?
It's going to be 3.5 stars for me. This is one of those movies where for the second half, I'm like, this could be an easy 4 stars depending on how it brings everything together. And it didn't quite bring everything together. It definitely more like mashed things together at the end. But there's just like like I said, little things that added up through the movie that ended up frustrating me. And when we get to that climax, like I love the idea that he makes the Nazi eat 1 diamond and that he wanted him to eat more. And the way that Hoffman keeps throwing the diamonds, and Olivier keeps freaking out because they keep going into the water. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But I mean, maybe this was not as tropey back in the 70s, Alex, but I am so tired of the whole, like, the good guy has the bad guy at gunpoint, and the bad guy is like, you're not going to shoot me. You can't do it. You don't have the balls. And it turns out that he's right. Right? Because the entire time I kept waiting for Hoffman to pull the trigger. But no, instead, yeah, he's right. Hoffman can't do it, and now we get like an extended fight scene and so on. So it's just little things that add up. If I had finished more strongly, dude, I know you were maybe half kidding, but the idea of Olivier getting taken down by the Jewish community that he had infiltrated, like that would have been so much more satisfying. And I definitely wouldn't have seen it coming. And I would have felt that they had resonance, right? These people that he had oppressed and tortured get their revenge when the government of the country that they live in had been letting this guy slide. So that would have been very powerful. I am kind of curious now as we're talking about it. I'm like, that's right. This is based on a book. So I wonder if Goldman's original novel has a lot more of what I want in this movie. All those themes maybe are explored a little bit more in a book because, it's a book. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but I might be interested in reading Marathon Man. Because I've read The Princess Bride, which I know is a completely different story, but I read it and I liked it. So I know Goldman can write and I can enjoy his writing. So maybe not for the post-credits of this episode, but maybe in the future, Alex, I will be telling you about my experience reading Marathon Man.
The fight scene at the end, or the final showdown between Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier, needed to be like the Naked Gun, the recent one where Liam Neeson just punches Danny Houston in the stomach and he's like, ow, you hit me in the soft part of my tummy. Liam Neeson goes, do you still want to fight? And he goes, no. Well, I mean, a fair showing both ways. I mean, 3.5 stars, nothing to shake a stick at. So, John, let us know how you feel about it, but I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, John, much like, and I really, see, I am so inconsistent. I'm as inconsistent, I guess, as the US government and how they handle Nazis. Sometimes I'm really on top of it, and whatever patron demands a movie, I'll be like, hey, tell me how you feel about the movie so we can talk about it in the episode. And sometimes it completely sneaks up on me. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I should have reached out to John to check. But that's fine. John, you know how to find us. Let us know, and we'll comment on your thoughts in a future episode, or maybe on the Patreon channel.
You can keep as many as you can swallow.
I'm not quite sure what you said. Swallow?
Yeah, swallow.
Coming up next, Alex, do you know how we start March?
Lay it on me.
Well, coming up next is the next Fresh Immigrants, Rotten Fascists. That's episode number 8, and it's Cabaret, which we already kind of talked a little bit about our expectations for that when we did the last FERF. So I'm just putting that out there. That's next on the feed. And then after Cabaret, we have a movie from Filmbusters Paul. He threw that our way a while back. It's called Big Night, and it's 96% fresh, Alex, 1996. I think Stanley Tucci is in it.
The Tooch?
The Tooch, which I'm sure we've had him before.
What's it called?
Big
Big Night?
Yeah, Big Night.
Not Suge Knight.
No. Big Night.
Okay. 96%. Stanley Tucci, Campbell Scott, Tony Shalhoub. All right, now we're cooking. Hilariously, Julio, after that discussion, Ian Holm is in this, as well as Contrarian's favorite Liev Schreiber. Allison Janney shows up. So,
man.
Yeah.
Okay. Star-studded affair. So, of course, we're going to be really nitpicky about it. So, watch Big Night. I'm not sure where it's streaming, Alex. We'll figure it out. We have a couple weeks for that. And then on the Patreon channel, man, I finally put up my QVRs for The Stuff and more recently for K-Pop Demon Hunters. So if you want to see me on video failing to connect to two movies that most of our patrons seem to love, then that's where you go. You go to our Patreon channel. I also put out the February newsletter, Alex. I'm 2 for 2. I said that was something we're going to start doing in 2026. And so far, I've managed to do one in January and one in February. So
God bless.
Yeah. And I post this idea. I floated on the newsletter. And like I mentioned, newsletter, I did it before I actually talked to you about it. But do you think that we should do an after hours where we talk about Catherine O'Hara movie, given her recent passing?
Yeah, that would seem right.
Okay. Well, now that you've agreed, it is your responsibility to choose the movie.
All right. Can do.
All right. Cool. You've heard it here. Alex is in charge of that. So yeah, check out, if you want to check out the newsletter, the video reviews, the after hours, where we talk about one battle after another and the Smashing Machine. That's all on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/Contrarian Prime. Go check it out. Join the Contrarian Supplements. And now, Alex, let's get out of here.
Take care, y'all. Welcome to our end credits.
Or as we usually call them, our perennial plugs.
We start off by giving thanks to the Festive Years who provide our opening and closing tracks. They kick us off with Last Stand and take us home with Summer of 99. Be sure to head over to thefestiveyears.com for any and all Festive Years needs.
Our friend and fellow podcaster Hans Rothgieser is the man behind our logo and all the art you see related to our show. Reach out to him and let him know how much you like that little tomato. His email address is mildemonios@hotmail.com and his website is mildemonios.pe. That's MILDEMONIOS. Hans, thank you for all your support.
For those interested in the regularly absurd world of professional wrestling, Joe and the boys over at latenightgrin.com have you covered. Tell them the Contrarians sent you.
And we like to close with special thanks to our social media team of Zoe Perez and Corey Ari. Each of the social media accounts we mentioned in the introduction look as good as they do because of their work.
So that'll do it for this episode of The Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong, and we will catch you next time.
Just for old time's sake, I really don't care who you're seeing or how much money you make to get a room.